There you go.
Okay, so good morning to everyone. Um, Yesterday we started with word classes or different classes of words, and we saw briefly aspects about nouns and pronouns, right? And today we're going to focus on verbs and adjectives. So let me share my screen. Um, do you see my screen in full screen mode?
Yes, yes,
Yes,
yes, yes.
great. Um, okay, so yes, this was our example, our phrase example that says the researcher analyzed the data thoroughly and she presented the significant findings at the latest conference. Here we have in different colors the different word classes. And so today we are going to focus on verbs and adjectives, and we are now going to start with verbs. So verbs are highlighted in green, and in this particular sentence, we have only two verbs that are analyzed and presented. And in this particular case, are verbs that are used in the past tense. But normally, if we have to describe or tell about the function of verbs, we can say that they describe actions or states. Um, so here they are describing an action that regards an analysis that was done in the data and where this data was presented. So this is an example where verbs are used to describe actions. But also verbs are used to describe states, so or feelings. So these are some examples of verbs with that function. For example, want, have, need, believe, smell, feel. So verbs are not only used to describe an action, but also to describe a state. Here, as I said, some examples of verbs that refer to a description of an activity or an action. There we have almost an endless list of verbs, but here there are some, just a few. Guess, change, grow, and succeed, for example. And also, verbs can function as links. So to link or to connect the subject with what we call the predicate. So, for example, become, feel, seems, remain are examples of link verbs that function as connectors between two parts of the sentence. So these are the main functions of the verb. So state verbs, action verbs, and link verbs. Verbs can be classified in different manners. One of them is the classification that regards what comes after the verb. And in this case, verbs can be classified into transitive, where after the verb there is a need for a direct object, and intransitive, where after the verb there is no direct object. So some examples of transitive verbs, these are only three. So for example, the team analyzed the data using statistical software. So here analyzed is the verb, particularly in the past tense, and the data is the direct object. So this is categorized as a transitive verb. Another example of transitive verb is the device measured the air pressure at regular intervals. So again, the verb is measured and the object is the air pressure. And another example, the researchers conducted several experiments to test the theory. So several experiments is the direct object that is just after the verb. So these are examples of transitive verbs. Intransitive verbs, intransitive examples of verbs. First one, the chemical, for example, the chemical reaction occurred within seconds. So after the verb, you have a preposition that is within. There is no immediate object after the verb. Another example is the temperature fluctuated throughout the observation period. Fluctuated is the verb, and then you have throughout the observation period where there is no direct object. Another example of intransitive verb is the device failed due to excessive heat. So transitive and intransitive verbs. But there are also verbs that can function as transitive and intransitive, or can be used in a transitive way and in an intransitive way. And here there are some examples. So they increased the temperature by 5 degrees. This is a transitive or an intransitive way of using the verb. This is a question for you.
Transitive.
Can you say it again?
Transitive. The
Transitive,
first part.
yes.
Yes.
And the verb there is the temperature, right? So you have immediately after the verb, the object, sorry, that is the temperature. If we want to convert this phrase into one that uses the verb in an intransitive way, then we can say the temperature increased gradually. So after the verb, there is no direct object. In this case, there is an adverb that is modifying the verb. Another example of these verbs that can be used in a transitive and in an intransitive manner is the team started the simulation manually. So there the verb is started and the object is the simulation. And if we convert this into an intransitive sentence, then we can say the simulation started unexpectedly. Expand is another verb that can be used in both ways. For example, the lab expanded its research. So its research is the direct object. And the other way, in an intransitive manner, would be the material expanded when heated. And these verbs, just for you to know, are called ambitransitive. So this means that can be both used in a transitive and intransitive way. There we go. Now we're going to see how we modified verbs depending if these verbs are regular or irregular, right? And you know that you have to change the verb if you're using a past tense or a past participle tense. And of course, there are irregular verbs. So if you have regular verbs, then of course, there are some verbs that are irregular. But let's start with the regular ones. So I'm sure you know this. The basic form of converting a verb in the present to a verb in the past, or the past participle, for some cases is to add a letter D. So if the verb ends in the letter E, then you convert the verb to the past form or the past participle form by adding the letter D. So for example, love, loved. Then other regular verbs ending in Y, like carry or happy, you need to first replace the Y by an E and add ED. So in this case would be carry and carried. And another way of converting a regular verb into the past tense is the case when the verb ends has a single vowel and a consonant. So for example, stop. In this case, to convert it to the past form, you need to double the consonant and add ed to the last end of the word. So in this case, stop with one p would be converted into its past participle form by adding a p and ed, so stopped. In case of irregular verbs, there is almost no rule as they are irregular. And these are some examples, and I am sure that you are aware of some of these. So be is irregular, begin, build, choose, find, and write. These are just some examples of irregular forms, irregular verbs. And there are, I was saying, just few rules. So in irregular verbs that have what we call an internal vowel, so one vowel in the middle of the word, for example, sing, to change it to the past form and the past participle form, we need to change that internal vowel. So sing, sang, sang. We change the I for the A in the past form and for a U in the past participle form. And then, of course, there are irregular verbs that change completely. So, for example, the verb to be, that in the past form changes to was or were, depending if you're talking about if you're referring to a singular or plural subject. And then if you want to convert this verb to be, or if you want to use it in the past participle, then it is been, the one that you have to use with double E. And finally, there are some irregular verbs that do not change at all. So you have the same spelling of the verb, even if you're talking in the present, in the past, or if you're using that verb in a past participle form. So for example, cat, cat, cat. Another example is fit. So fit is fit. This is another irregular verb that doesn't change at all. And irregular verbs, well, there is no rule, so you have to remember them by heart or remember them by practicing. So we usually know that a verb is irregular by using it, right? Or if the verb is regular, then there are some rules that we can follow. But still, at some point, it becomes something that you use frequently and you even do not have to think about, is this a regular or an irregular verb? So you just modify the verb to be into was and been. And you know that cat, cat, cat is not modified at all. So this is something that will come with practice. Okay, and let's practice some of the pronunciation of regular verbs. And the pronunciation has some rules that we can follow to get the right pronunciation. So the verbs that are regular, we can categorize them in three: in voiceless sounds, in voiced sound, and in verbs ending in T or D, and how this changed the way we pronounce in the past these verbs. So let's start with the column to the very left. So verbs ending as it sound in K, F, S, SH, and CH are pronounced in the past with the letter T. So we do not write them with a T at the end. We now know that a regular verb can be converted into the past by adding an ed at the end of the verb, but they sound differently in this case. So in this case, they sound like a T. So if we are pronouncing the verb watch in the past or the past participle, we say watched. Danced, laughed, washed, walked, processed, checked, proofed, and fixed. So we pronounce these verbs with a T at the end. Then the second category of how regular verbs sound are the ones that end in an N, L, B, G, or a vowel sound. And all this refer to how the verb sounds at the end, not referring to how they are actually spelled. So here we have some examples that are pronounced and end and sound with a D at the end, not with a T, but with a D. So for example, play in the past sounds as played, cleaned, studied, closed, snowed, measured, compared, observed, and explained. I know that it's a slight difference, the T pronunciation and the D pronunciation, but there is a difference. So, and you know that communication is, in science, is fundamental. So you want to be able to transmit when you are communicating what you are communicating properly, right? And finally, there are some regular verbs and in the past and or yes, sound with the ed or with the id pronunciation. So verbs ending in t or d sound as ed. So want sound as wanted in the past, started, landed, como ed, painted, stated, recorded, tested, estimated, added. So this again, although there is a rule, so we can try to memorize verbs ending in T or D, like want, start, land, record, need to sound with the ed if we are using this verb in the past. But it's again like a matter of practice, and you will intuitively, without thinking too much, pronounce it correctly. So without knowing, without remembering, okay, this verb ends in T or D, okay, so I have to pronounce it this way, or if this verb ends in a vowel sound, then I have to use D, or if it ends in CH, then I have to use a T at the end when I'm using the past form. So this will come with practice. So for me, there is no reason to try to remember this rule, but to practice the spelling and the speaking. Sorry, the speaking. Okay. So let's continue with verbs, and now we're going to talk about when we modify verbs adding ing or ed, and when we use these verbs to refer to different things or feelings regarding the ending of this verb. So also first we modify the verb by adding ing at the end when we are using this verb in the present participle. So in a continuous tense, we add ing, and we can say, for example, I am writing my thesis. So this is an activity that is going on, and that you are doing it right in the moment when you're saying this. I'm writing my thesis, and this is happening at that time, at the present time. Then we can also use verbs with ing ending to modify a noun, so to use them as an adjective. So for example, the rising water levels indicate, so there you're modifying the noun water, and you're saying that water is rising. So to rise is the verb, and if we add the ing, then we can use that word, that verb, as an adjective. And then we can also, by adding ing to the verb, we can use verbs as gerunds. So understanding the effects of climate change on is a way of using the verb to understand as a gerund. So by adding ing. This is something that I particularly use quite often when writing, using these gerunds. So these are some ways of modifying verbs by adding the ing, and use them in different ways. So to talk about a tense, a present continuous tense, to modify a noun, so use them as adjectives, and to use them as gerunds. And then we can also use verbs, of course, in the past. And there, you now know that if the verbs are in a regular form, we add most of the times an ed. But if the verbs are used in the perfect tenses, then we need most of the times to add en. So for the verb to write, the past participle form is written. For example, he has written his first manuscript. This is a verb that is used in the perfect tense. The passive voice. So we have seen this in our second day. We can also use a verb ending in ed when referring or when using the passive voice. So data was obtained by blah, blah, blah. And then, as we also saw in verbs ending in ing, then we can also use verbs that end in ed as adjectives. So, for example, previously published papers focused on, and then we are modifying the noun papers, and we are using the verb to be, or to modify by adding an ed at the end, to use this as an adjective, right? So as we used the rising water, here we can also consider that if we add ed to that verb to publish, we can modify the noun. So published papers. Okay, how are you? How are we so far with the verbs?
Right. It's
We're
okay.
great?
Yes.
Okay. So as we told you before, this is not a grammar class, but this is a refresh of what we normally use in science communication, right? So we use a lot of verbs in the right tense, and we usually modify these verbs according to the different situations. So to use them as adjectives, to use them in the passive voice, um, to focus on the action and not on the doer or on who did that. And then, of course, yeah, in terms of pronunciation, when speaking, we want our message to be delivered correctly, right? So that's why we also make emphasis on how, at least in the past, we need to use these verbs. Okay, there was a message in the chat. Okay. So let's continue with adjectives. So in this sentence that we have here, well, I was going to ask which are the two adjectives, but then color is too easy. So the two adjectives here in this sentence are significant and latest. So significant findings and the latest conference. And as you might know, adjectives are a class of word that is used to describe or to modify a noun and a pronoun. So we can also use adjectives to modify a pronoun. And there are different categories of adjectives. So one of that category is the possessive one. So we can also modify a noun by using possessive adjectives. So the possessive adjectives in the different forms are my, your, his, her, its, ours, yours, theirs. So, for example, my paper, this is a possessive adjective that is modifying the noun that is paper in this case. We just saw this, so we can use the participle form as adjective. So if the participle form ends in an ed or ing, and if it ends in ed, this adjective is describing an effect, is describing normally a feeling or an emotion. And when using adjectives ending in ing, this is normally, or this describes the cause of that emotion, right? And normally describe things. So how things are, how this noun, a thing, is modified. And this is used with an adjective ending in ing. So some examples. The students were confused by the unexpected experiment outcome. So the verb is, the adjective, sorry, is confused, and is talking about the students. So how the students felt with the experimental outcome. They were confused. So we add this ed at the end, or we use um, a word class with an ed ending. Another example, the participants felt tired after completing the cognitive tests. So this is an adjective referring to how the participants felt, so describing a feeling, an emotion, and that's why we use ed at the end, tired. Another example, the committee appeared satisfied with the final report. So satisfied is an emotion that the committee had, and this is why it's describing or is used with the ed ending. Another example, a previously stated hypothesis. So this is an adjective that is modifying the noun that is hypothesis. And here we have some examples of adjectives that end in ing, and these are adjectives that are describing a thing or are describing the cause. So the team delivered a satisfying explanation for the anomaly. So this satisfying ending in ing is modifying the noun that in this case is explanation. So satisfying explanation. Another example of ing, the findings were surprising given the initial hypothesis. So this is modifying a thing, the findings, and that's why we use the ing at the end, surprising. Another example, the experiment was mentally tiring due to its length and complexity. So this is modifying, or this is talking about the experiment that was tiring. So the cause, that is the experiment, is being used, and then we have to add this ing at the end. Okay, so to kind of fix this, do we have, no, I don't have the exercise here. So to fix this, the use of ed or ing in adjectives, and when ed is used to describe feelings or emotions or the effect, and the ing is used to describe things or the cause. I would like you to do exercise 4.1. If you don't have it there, I can show it to you. There we go. Here. So do you see my screen 4.1?
Yes. Yes, we
Yes.
can see.
So I propose you to read this. We can do it one by one. If you don't mind, I can mention you and you read the sentence and you choose the correct adjective, if that's okay with you. So Noelia, can you start with the instructions?
Yes, the instructions for authors are really the instructions are really confusing. No,
Yeah.
confused or confusing. Confusing because it's the instructions.
Okay, right. So it's modifying a thing. It's talking about the cost, right? So
Mhm.
instructions for authors are really confusing.
Confusing.
How would you convert this sentence in order to use confused?
Um, if we use confused, we will be talking about the authors. So it could be the authors are really confused by the instructions or something like that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So when using an adjective ending in ed, we are modifying, or we are talking about the feeling and emotion. So
Mhm.
about people. So in this case, we could say, yes, the authors are really confused by the instructions. Great, thank you. Luz, can you read the second one, please?
Yeah, I read your proposal. It looks quite interesting.
Yeah, and they are,
Yeah,
why did you choose interesting?
because it's referring to the proposal.
Okay, so it's referring to a thing, and
Yeah.
then we use ing. Great. Um, Who else? Wendy, can you read the third one, please?
Can I call you? I've got some very excited news for you.
You use ed or ing? I couldn't hear.
Ed.
Ed. Why did you use ed?
Because describe it.
So if it is a thing, we use ing. If it is an emotion, a feeling, we use ed. So this adjective, what noun is modifying?
I don't know. I'm confused.
Um,
Can I say something, Tommy?
yes.
Maybe you can think of what generates the sentiment or the adjective and what receives the adjective. If I say I am bored with ed at the end, it means that it's something external that it's making me feel bored. But if I say I am boring, it means that people around me think, for my behavior or whatever, that I caused them to be bored, that I am a boring person. See, it's like saying yo soy aburrida, I am boring, yo soy aburrida, and I am bored, yo estoy aburrido, which is not the same. In this case, the news are, can the news be excited? Can the news feel
Exciting.
Yes, the news can only be exciting because they cannot feel things. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. So I've got some very exciting news for you. Who else? Rebecca, can you read the fourth one?
She's a big dog, but you don't need to be frightened.
With ed or ing?
Eating,
Ed. And why did you choose ed?
because it's a feeling. It's about a feeling about the dog.
Yes, correct. So
No, it's not a thing. It's a person.
so
She.
yes, it's an emotion, a feeling, and there is yes, there's something that is causing you to be frightened. In this
Yes.
case, this big dog. Okay, thank you.
Can you say what is pronouncing the verb, please?
How do
The right pronunciation.
okay, so she's a big dog, but you don't need to be frightened.
Frightened. Okay, thank you.
Frightened. Yes. It it's more similar to the frightened, yeah, to the D ending.
The ending. Okay, thank you.
If I'm yes. Next one, Diego, you're here, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. Hello. Can you read the next one? I was
disappointed that I didn't get the job
great, that's correct. And yeah, why did you choose disappointed instead of disappointing?
because I'm describing an state.
And state an emotion that you have.
Yes.
Great. And we have two more. So Who wants to read this and try? The battery.
The battery on my phone only lasts about 2 hours. It's really annoying.
With ing.
Yes,
Yes, that's correct. And this,
because it can describing an state, a feeling that I'm annoying like that.
yeah, so you are talking about the battery of your phone.
Yes,
That that is what annoys you,
noise.
and that
Yeah,
that's why you say it is really annoying.
I can do the next.
Okay, yes, thank you.
You look worried. Is there something wrong?
Great.
For you?
So ending in ed, you look worried.
Yes, because it's emotion, it's something that worries the other person. It's a feeling. It's not a
Yeah,
thing.
correct. So it's talking about the feeling and emotions. So you look worried. Is there something wrong? Okay, great. So this is something that we normally use, and we need to know how we need to modify the adjective ed or ing depending on the situation and how the phrase is phrased, right? So depending on how you write the sentence, you can use these adjectives and all the adjectives in an ed ending or ing, depending on on how you are modifying and who you are talking about. So there's no rule, so there's no verb, no adjective, sorry, that is only used in this form or in another form, but depends on the context, depends on which is the noun. If you're using as a cause or an effect, then you need to modify and to be correspondent with the ending of the adjective. Okay. What time is it? 10 to 8.
10 to 9.
10 to 9,
Mm,
sorry. Shall we do a short
a
break?
short break until 9. What do you think? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot of
Okay.
information.
Yeah, but yeah. So let's come back at 9 a.m. if you're in Argentina, 10 minutes from now. See you.
Yes. See you.
I was completing that email, and I I had forgotten to prepare myself a mate, which cannot happen. Okay. I think that we are mostly here. I think so. Let's see, Rebecca and Diego. I never paused the video. Oh man, I suck at this. So people on YouTube will have like 10 minutes of break.
Okay, let's start. Let's restart. Yes, you are seeing the screen, I guess. Sorry. Okay. So let's continue with adjectives, and let's talk about how we place the adjectives if we have more than one. So if we have only one adjective, then this is obvious that it goes um, before the noun. But what happens if we have more than one adjective? And this is quite common in science communication in scientific writing, to have more than one adjective modifying a noun, right? So if we take this to an extreme, then this would be the order of 8 adjectives. So I suggest you not to use 8 adjectives. Normally you can use 1, 2, or 3. But if you have many, then this is the order. And the order refers to how the adjective modifies the noun, right? And how that adjective can be classified or categorized in a general opinion, a specific opinion, size, shape, age, color, nationality, and material. So I don't want you to remember this order, but as a general rule, adjectives referring to an opinion or that give an opinion about a noun goes first, and then you continue with the adjectives that feature, that characterize the noun, referring to size, shape, age, color, material, etc. So I will not ask you to do exercise 4.2 because it's like too much. But what we can do is to read the answers of the exercise 4.2 that you have in the handbook. So you have an idea of how you should order the adjectives when you have more than one. So I will go through them, and there within parentheses, you have the description of that adjective. If it is a general opinion, shape, age. So, for example, in the first case, that is referring to structures. This is the noun. We can say complex, elongated, multicellular plant structures.
Tomás,
Yes,
please, can I make a comment?
yes, you can.
There is a mnemonic that is called osashcom, that
Okay.
is for the order of adjective. O for opinion, S for size, SH for shape, C for color, O for opinion, and M for material. I don't remember the last one that is P.
That-
But it's a mnemonic that helps you to remember osashcom.
Yeah, the last O it's for origin, meaning nationality.
Origin.
Origin.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. We
Okay.
can add that for a future. Yes, you're right.
Thank you. Yes, we could add this. Thank you, so yes, you need to find this kind of rules in order to remember the order of the adjectives. At some point, if you use them a lot, so if you use this way of modifying the noun using more than one adjective, it will come to you quite intuitively. But from now we can describe the order in these different categories. So here you have different examples of nouns being modified by many adjectives. But also adjectives, I think this is a more useful use of adjectives in science communication, mainly when we are talking about two different things, like two different study areas or two different seasons or more than two. So in those cases, we can use the comparatives and the superlatives to compare the different study sites, the different seasons, etc. And for that, if we want to use an adjective that compares two things, two sites, for example, those adjectives ending in E use the R ending and the ST ending if we want to compare two or if we want to talk about the superlatives. So if the adjective ends in E and we are talking about the comparative case, when one is larger than the other one, then to that adjective that is large, we add an R at the end in the comparative. And in the superlative, if we have, for example, three study sites, we can say study site number 2 is the largest one with an ST at the end. In adjectives with one syllable, ending in two consonants or two vowels plus a consonant, then we need to add ER or EST to convert them, to use them as comparative or superlative. And if we have one vowel and one consonant, then we need to double the consonant and add ER or EST to use them as comparative or superlatives, respectively. If we have an adjective with two syllable words that end in Y, then we change the Y, we replace the Y for an I, and we add ER for comparatives and EST for superlatives. We're going to see examples of this. If we have two syllable words, but which do not end in Y, Then we use ER or EST. And in some cases, we need to add another word, an extra word that is more when using a comparative and the most when using a superlative. Again, if we have two syllable words ending in L or H, we use more and the most. So it is incorrect to use ER, so to add ER or EST, but here we have to use more and the most. And if we have three syllable adjectives, then again, as the previous case, we use more and the most. And of course, we have irregular adjectives. So as we had irregular verbs, we also have irregular adjectives. So bad, good, little, far need to be modified completely if we want to use them as comparatives and superlatives. So let's see some examples. So these are different adjectives that are one syllable and that end in E. So late, large, nice. And we want to convert this into comparative and superlatives. And for this, now we know that we need to add the letter R for the comparative, and the superlative, we need to add ST. And when we use the superlative, we previously need to add the word D to refer to that specific case. So the latest, the largest, the nicest. Next in line, so if we have one syllable word that has two consonants or two vowels plus a consonant, then now we know that for the comparative cases, we have to add ER, and for the superlative cases, we have to add EST. So smaller, the smallest. Few, fewer, the fewest. High, higher, the highest. So these are cases where you have either two consonants at the end of the adjective or two vowels plus a consonant. For example, cheap, cheaper, the cheapest, and great, greater, the greatest, where you have two vowels plus a consonant. And yes, we need to add ER or EST for the comparative and superlative. What happens in one syllable word where you have one vowel and one consonant, like big, hot, and thin? Now we know that we have to add a consonant or double the consonant of the adjective and to add ER for the comparative and EST for the superlative. So these are the easiest ones of adjectives formed by only one syllable. Then we have adjectives formed by two syllables and that end in Y. And for this, so we have to modify or change the Y for an I and to add ER and EST. So in the case of sleepy, for example, sleepier and the sleepiest. So there you can see how you have to modify the adjective to convert it to a comparative and superlative situation. Again, adjectives with two syllables that do not end in Y, then in this case, we can use either an R for the comparative and an ST for the superlative, or use more and the most. So simple, we can say simpler or more simple. And when we use more, we don't say more simpler. So we say more simple. So as the adjective in its original form. So polite, politer, the more polite, or politest and the most polite. So we don't say the most politest, we say the most polite. So these are cases of two-syllable words that can be either converted to comparative using R or more, and the superlative using st at the end, or the most. Following with adjectives with two syllables, but here ending in L or H, we have to use more and the most. So it's incorrect to say, for example, usefuler or carefuler. We have to use more useful, more careful, or the most useful, the most careful. So these are two-syllable words, but that end in L and H. Now we have three-syllable words, three-syllable adjectives. The same case as the one before, so we use more and the most, and remember the adjective in its original form. So more intelligent, the most intelligent. And irregular verbs. Does anyone know how you use bad into a comparative and superlative form? So this is an adjective that completely changes its form. It's an irregular one. Does anyone know? Okay. Or good, probably good is another adjective that we use more frequently.
It could be worse and better.
For which case is for the comparative or superlative?
For the superlative, I think.
For the good, you say better?
Better, and bad could be worst.
Okay, yes, there you have a mix. It's on that way. So if we want to use the adjective wood, it sounds like madera, wood. In its comparative way, we have to say better. And if we want to use it in its superlative way, we say the best. So good, better, the best. And for bad, we say bad, worse, worst. Like this, or the worst, right? So you have to always add the letter D when you're using the superlative. So el más malo, el mejor, the worst, the best. For little is less and the least, and for far is further and the furthest. So these are irregular adjectives that change completely if we are using it in its comparative and superlative manners. And of course, as I say frequently, this is something that will come with practice. And you will know without much thinking if you had to add ER or EST, or if you have to use more and the most. And it will come to you that you have to use better, for example, if you're comparing two different things, and if you're comparing more than two and you want to say which one is the best, then you will use it will come to your mind intuitively. Okay. So if we have now to compare two different clauses or two different parts of a sentence. There are different ways, and here the adjective is sometimes modified. So if we want to compare two clauses using done, then the pattern, depending if we are doing a comparative or a superlative comparison, then we have to use more if we are talking about an increase, or less if we are talking about a decrease, the adjective in its original form, and the word done. So one example of this is, this new drug is more potent than the previous one. So you're comparing two different drugs, and you're saying that how different is one from the other. We can also use another comparative clause, but here it refers not to a difference, but to an equality. So you compare two different clauses to different things, for example, and you are saying that one is similar, one is equal to the other. And for this, we use the structure as plus the adjective plus as. So for example, the data is as consistent as last year's. So here you're saying that the data from this year and from the previous year as equally consistent. So as consistent as. This is the pattern that we use if we want to say that two things are similar. Then if we want to compare clauses in a proportional way, and we want to say that one is proportionally similar to the other one in some sense, then we use the word de on one side and at the beginning of these two different clauses. And we use the comparative, right? So the adjective, modify in its comparative way, because we are talking about two things that are somehow in a proportional manner. So an example could be, the colder it gets, the slower the process. So here you're comparing two different processes, right? Two different actions, and how these two are related to each other. So how these are correlated. So if you have a colder temperature, then the process will become slower. So there is a proportion there. There is a correlation between these two different clauses. Then we can also compare or use comparative clauses by implying, by comparing them in also a similar way, using done plus the full clause, or what we imply with that clause. So for example, the procedure is safer than it used to be. So you're comparing the same thing, in this case the procedure, and you're talking about different times. So you're comparing how the procedure was now and how the procedure was or used to be. So now you're saying that there is a difference between how the procedure is now than previously. And we can also use the words like or unlike when comparing two clauses. So like to say that two things are similar, and unlike to say that these two clauses differ. For example, unlike earlier models, this device is portable. So here you are saying that this device that you have is different from the other models. So that's why you use unlike. Or you can easily say, like earlier models, this device is portable, right? So you're saying that the two models, the one that you have and the earlier ones, are portable. Both of them are portable. Okay, so let's see some exercises where we use these comparative.
Tomás, sorry, I need to leave the meeting.
Okay. Okay. See you.
I'm
Bye-bye.
leaving. We'll catch you later.
Yes, it will be recorded and will be uploaded in the YouTube channel, so you can check it there.
Okay, thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Okay, so let's have a look at exercise 4.4. I have it here. So in this case, you have to add as or like to these sentences. So these are two ways of comparing two clauses or different clauses. And we can go one by one. So Diego is not here anymore. So for example, she worked as or like a journalist before writing her first novel. What do you think it is the correct answer? So she worked
As.
or like a journalist.
As.
As a journalist, right? So
Yes.
ella trabajaba como una periodista. So she worked as a journalist before writing her first novel. So in this case, as is describing or is defining the work of the journalist, and it's not describing a feature of her work. So it is defining that this person, this woman, is a journalist. So she worked as a journalist. Next one. So you look just
Like
Like
your mother.
like your mother when you smile, or you look just as your mother when you smile. So it sounds, yeah, it doesn't sound good if you say you look just as your mother when you smile. You look just like your mother when you smile. So you're comparing the smiles and you are saying that they are similar, that they are alike. Next one, we have only just met, but I feel as
like
though I have known all my life, or like though I have known you all my life. What did you say?
I feel like
We have only just met, but I feel like though I have known you all my life. So we have not seen this clause, but the clause is as though. And we have only just met, but I feel as though I have known you all my life. So this is like a fixed clause used to compare two different clauses, to say that these two different clauses are similar. So it is as though. Next one.
There is also
Yeah.
a collocation that it's I feel like something. Yeah. You usually use those two words together when you don't have the though after that. When you have the though, you need the as though. Como si. Just it wasn't incorrect, because I feel like something, it's really frequently used in English. But when you have the word though, you need the as. It sounds funny. Yeah, it just a collocation. You are going to hear us say that word, collocations, very frequently. And collocations are just words that sound well together. What defines them? There is no freaking rule. It's only how they are used to saying something and what sounds natural. Yeah, and native speakers use these collocations, and that's what makes you sound more natural. Yeah, that's to avoid getting that this should be reviewed by a native speaker. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, for that, of course, you need to read the whole sentence, right? So you can say we have only just met, but I feel like if we actually met. So you can say that, but since you know the whole sentence and you know that after you have a though, then you need to use as instead of like. Okay, next one. So they said I didn't have as or like much experience as the other candidate. Which one do you think is the correct one?
As much, yes. It sounds better.
It sounds better, and then you have the other part of this clause. So
As.
yes, as much experience as the other candidate. Next one. So as or like we were late, we had to get an expensive taxi.
As we were late, we had
As.
to get an yes.
Yes, so again, it doesn't sound native to say like we were late. And the correct way is as we were late, we had to get an expensive taxi. I slept on the train using my jacket as or like a pillow. Pillow is almohada. So I
Like.
slept on the train using my jacket
Like a pillow.
like a pillow, right? So yes, como una almohada, you say like a pillow. Many fruit trees need insects as or like bees and butterflies to help them produce fruit.
Like.
Like.
So many fruit trees need insects like bees and butterflies to help them produce fruit. Yes. You could also say, but then you have to add another word. You could say such as. So you could say much fruit trees need insects, comma, such as bees and butterflies, comma, to help them produce fruit. But here you are adding such as and not just as.
Yeah.
But if you have to use either as or like, then the correct one is like. So many fruit trees need insects like bees and butterflies to help them produce fruit.
Yeah, the example Tommy gave, such as, it's what we use in writing our papers because it's a more formal way of giving examples. Instead of saying like or for example, we can say such as.
Yeah, we use it. Yeah, we use it a lot. Last but not least, I like listening to music as or like I do the ironing.
As I do the ironing.
Yes, so ironing is planchar. So the correct is I like listening to music as I do the ironing. Mientras estoy
Creo que se tildó Tommy.
Ah, sí.
Sí, creo que sí.
Yeah.
Sí.
Tommy.
Entonces es mientras, o sea, en este caso sería como
In this
mientras.
case, it's like a mientras. You could use other words like when, cuando, or while, que es mientras. But you can also use as to mean mientras. Yeah, you're going to see that these kind of words, they may have a different meaning or a different translation and different uses depending on the sentence. We are going to dive a little bit deeper into that during our in-person meetings. And as it's a word that we use like a lot in our writing because you can use them to make comparisons. You can use them as mientras. Zoom kicked him out. I don't know why. He's telling me why. We don't know why. So Zoom just kicked him out, expelled him. He was anyway. He was on his on the last slide of that of today. But I think that we were talking during the break, and I think that it would be a good idea for us to start with day 5 already, because maybe day 5 has a lot of things, and we don't want to like stay too late tomorrow or not have enough time to go through all the slides. So as we wait for Tomás, let me send him I send him a WhatsApp just so he knows that we are starting with day 5. Let me share my screen with you. Ah, here he is. Hi, Tommy. We don't know what happened.
I was kicked out by,
But why?
I don't know, because it was time, you know?
Oh, yeah, you were finishing. Told you,
Yes.
okay, finished already. I was
Yeah.
telling them that I would like to start with day 5, just so we do not run out of time tomorrow.
Mhm.
So I don't know. Do you want me to do it, Tommy?
Yeah, let me check. Yes, we
Adverbs.
finished with the adjectives and the exercises.
Yeah.
I wanted to tell you that
Yes.
in the handbook,
Yes.
there is more information about mainly these comparative clauses.
Yeah.
So these collocations, what Kata was telling you, as though, for example. So you have in the handbook more of these collocations and more examples if you want to check it.
Yeah.
You have seen the very basic ones and probably the ones that you are going to use the most. But you can also check in the handbook some detailed explanations and some examples of the different collocations when you're comparing different clauses. Yeah, I wanted to say that. No, it's all yours.
Examples. It's all about examples. That's why we try to give you so many examples, because as we say frequently, it's all about practice. And the more examples, different sentence you read or you hear, you will start to incorporate that language. Trust me, I know it seems like a slow process. In some cases, it is a slow process, but you start to incorporate all those examples and things start to become familiar to you. Yeah. Okay, let's see. I'm on day 5 and yes, you're seeing my screen, right? Adverbs. Let's see. Yes.
Yes.
Adverbs. As we said yesterday, adverbs modify verbs, adjectives, and another adverb. We have some examples here. We are going to see more of them. So now, soon, twice. Twice means 2 times. Twice, suddenly, extremely, slowly, fast. Yeah. They all describe when, how, why something is done. Como algo es hecho. And they never modify nouns. Never, 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 never. They never modify nouns. If there is a word that it's modifying a noun, it's most likely an adjective, not an adverb. They generally end in ly, but not always. So I have the example like never. Never, it's an adverb. Nunca. It doesn't end in ly. Our adverbs are the same. Nunca, it's also an adverb. And rápidamente, it's also an adverb. Yeah. The ly ending means mente. Yeah. And I have some examples for you here. It says, your dog smells carefully. So carefully, it's an adverb that it's modifying the verb smells. It's telling you that your dog is smelling things with a lot of care, cuidadosamente. If you say your dog smells careful, careful, it's an adjective, yeah, because it will mean that the dog gives off smells like carefulness, como cuidado, which doesn't make sense. But this is a common mistake in the beginning, to put an adjective instead of an adverb. And we are going to see why, because we obtain adverbs from adjectives. Yeah, as you can see, careful, it's the adjective. Carefully, it's the adverb. So we modified that adjective to obtain our adverb. Richard is careless. Here, careless, it's an adjective that it's modifying Richard, a person. Yeah, what kind of person is Richard? A careless one, poco cuidadoso. Richard talks carelessly. Here, carelessly, it's modifying the verb talks. Yeah, so how does Richard talk? Carelessly, sin cuidado. And you will see that we have different adverbs with different functions. Yeah, we have adverbs of time, now, soon, lately, yesterday, tomorrow. Adverbs of place, here, there, near, up, yeah, down, locally, of manner, how you did something, professionally, strictly, accurately, carefully, yeah, of certainty, de seguridad, de how certain, cuán seguro are you in what you're saying, yeah? How much confidence you have on something. So certainly, surely, definitely, obviously, those are adverbs of certainty. Degree, very, muy, fairly, bastante, rather, algo, quite, it's also algo, too or hardly. When, what, where are interrogative adverbs. Then we have these relative adverbs that some of them we already saw them. When, where, why, what, whose. Yeah, we saw them yesterday with our pronouns. Yeah. More of obligations, probably, maybe, I have certainly again, perhaps, evaluative, unfortunately, interestingly, remarkably. Those are giving your opinion. Yeah, unfortunately, desafortunadamente, for whom? Who says it's unfortunate? I have my opinion and I'm expressing that opinion in my adverb. Yeah, unfortunately, interestingly, remarkably. And there are some other adverbs that give a point of view. Yeah, and here you have a phrase from a methodological perspective. Yes, even though this is a whole phrase and has multiple words in it, the whole phrase it's functioning as an adverb. Now, I can say from my point of view, and that whole phrase will be functioning as an adverb. Frankly, it's another point of view. Oh. Okay, no. So we have, let me see, because we have exercise 4.2 in which 4. Yes. We have to identify the adverbs and what they are doing. So we can do this like Tommy did the other exercises as a group. We have the first sentence, which is the samples were analyzed systematically to ensure validity. Which is the adverb in this sentence? Oh.
Systematically.
Systematically. And what do you think it's the function of that adverb? It's telling you, if you tell me how, why, when something it's done, it's enough. If it's a how, something it's done, it's a manner. If it's a when, it's a time. If it's a where, it's a place adverb. So in this case, it's talking about how something it's done, why something. Okay, it's talking about how.
How.
So systematically.
How analyze.
Yes, and it's affecting analyze. Yes, how they analyze something systematically. Yeah. To recognize adverbs, you can always put a phrase together that is, this was done, and put the adverb in the at the end. This was done systematically. It tells you about manner. This was done yesterday. It tells you about time. This was done before. Also, it's talking about time. But if you set that phrase, if it sounds good, you have an adverb there. If it doesn't sound good, you probably have an adjective. If you say, this was done systematic, there is something wrong there. Yeah, because I don't have an adverb, I have an adjective. Perfect. Who wants to read number 2, the whole sentence?
I can read.
Yeah.
Recently, researchers have paid more attention to climate resilience.
Resilience.
Resilience?
Resiliencia. Resilience. Which is the adverb here, Noelia?
The adverb is recently. It's time.
A time adverb, yes. It's talking about a recent time. So, yeah. We could place this adverb at the end with no comma. We could say, researchers have paid more attention to climate resilience recently. Both are correct. In academic English, we tend to use it like it is here. We tend to set the context and then convey or transfer our idea, communicate our idea. Who wants to read number 3? This is a tricky one.
The trial lasted over several months.
Okay, yes. And what do you think it's the adverb here?
Lasted.
Lasted, it's the verb. To last, durar. Duro.
Sí.
Yeah. For how long?
Several months.
Over several months. This whole phrase, the whole phrase, it's the adverbial phrase. It's an adverb that it's telling you about the duration of something. Okay.
Si lo pusieran, this was done over several months, sería.
Sorry, I repeat.
Utilizando el this was done
over several months.
several
Yes,
months.
this was
Okay.
done over several months. A lo largo de varios meses. You can have over several weeks, over several days, over several years. Yeah.
Okay.
A lo largo de varios, and insert the time reference, days, months, weeks, whatever you prefer or whatever you need. Okay, who wants to go with number 4?
I can read.
Yeah, please.
Errors occur frequently when the data were processed automatically.
Okay, perfect.
There could be 2 adverbs.
Yes.
Frequently and automatically.
Yes, you're correct.
Okay.
There are 2 adverbs in this sentence. Frequently, which is modifying or affecting the verb occurred. How frequent it was? Frequently. When the data was processed, how was it processed? Automatically. Yeah, so yes, in this sentence, you have 2 different adverbs which are modifying 2 different verbs. Yeah. Okay. Wendy, do you want to read number 5?
Okay. The 2 groups were remarkably similar in demographic characteristics.
Okay.
And remarkably?
Remarkably, it's your adverb. In this case, it's affecting similar, not the verb. Why? Remarkably means, help me with the translation, Tommy, marcadamente would be, notablemente, yeah, marcadamente. To mean that the similarity was really, really close. Yeah, they were really, really, really similar. Yeah, so in this case, my adverb, it's not affecting the verb were, but it's affecting the adjective similar. Okay, let's go back to Noelia. Only because I see you at the top of the screen, Noelia. It's nothing personal. Read number 6, please.
The team examined exclusively peer-reviewed publications.
Okay, what's your adverb here?
The adverb here is exclusively.
Exclusively, yes. And it's affecting what? It's modifying what?
It's modifying the verb examined.
Yes, it's modifying the verb. How did they examine something? Exclusively. Yeah. Perfect. Rebecca, yes, I see you next. Can you read number 7, please?
The new algorithm will certainly improve prediction accuracy.
Perfect. What is your adverb?
Certainly.
Certainly, yes. Certainly, it's your adverb, and it's modifying what?
Improve.
Improve, yes. Seguramente mejorará. Yes. Number 8, Luz.
Yeah, methodologically, the model is robust but limited in scope.
Perfect.
Methodologically,
Yes.
I can pronounce this. It's super long. Methodologically, but I think it's about how the model is done, but
Yes,
I'm not sure.
it's a manner adverb, how something was done methodologically. Yes. And last,
I have a question
yes.
in number 8.
Yes.
Methodologically could be something that we could put at the end of the sentence too, or
in this case, I will say no.
okay.
Not because it would be grammatically incorrect, because it will not be incorrect. It just doesn't sound natural. You could say the model is robust but limited in scope from a methodological point of view, for example.
Okay.
And that way it could sound better, but I wouldn't put this particular adverb at the end of the sentence. Yeah.
Okay.
Just because it sounds strange.
Yes. Thank you.
Wendy, the last one.
Okay. Regrettable, the participants failed the complete answer verbs. Regrettable.
Okay, regrettably, yes.
Regrettably.
Yes. Again, in this case, regrettably, which is, I struggle with the translations into Spanish today. To regret is arrepentirse, but
Arrepentir.
yes, to regret something is arrepentirse de. But when you translate, there is no word in Spanish to say arrepentidamente. It doesn't exist. So it could be replaced by unfortunately, desafortunadamente, something similar. In this case, do you think it's talking about manner, time, opinion, point of view? What do you think they are doing in this sentence?
The participants.
Oh, I have, yes. The participants, what do you think they are doing? Are they giving their point of view, their opinion? They are talking about manner, time, duration?
Like an opinion could be.
Yes, they are doing their own evaluation. They are giving their opinion. Yeah, regrettably. Yeah, it's other people may not see it as something to regret, but they think that participants failing to complete all surveys, it's a regrettable thing. Yeah, so regrettably, the participants failed to complete all surveys. Let's see. Okay, we are now at almost 10. So I think, okay, I will leave you because the second part, it's for you to join the two sentences. The second part, it's this one, right?
Sorry, I have to leave now. I have a meeting, so
Perfect.
I'm leaving.
See
you.
Perfect. See you. So I will leave you exercise B and exercise C. I want you to think about them and this is not a test, so it's open book. You can use all the resources and the PDF presentation and choose an adverb in this case, an adverb of manner, in this case, an adverb of duration, to be able to make these two sentences into one. Yeah. As you can see, the original sentences are: the equipment was calibrated, period. It was done with precision. So I need you to replace this "it was done with precision" by one word. Yeah. So for tomorrow, when we review these exercises, I want you to think about it. Yeah, there is no only one answer. There might be more than one possible answers. Yeah. And we will stop here with at least with the slides, just not to get too far into day 5, mainly because we now have less people in our class. But I want to know if you have any questions, guys, about today, or what we saw during the week, or the exercises you did, whatever question you may have.
No, not today. Maybe tomorrow about adverbs, because I
Yes.
always been really bad with the
Perfect.
meaning of the adverbs, but I need to take a look again and study a bit more.
We will keep working tomorrow with adverbs. We have a crosswords, un crucigrama for you. And we also have how to obtain, we have some rules on how to obtain, adverbs from adjectives, how to transform adjectives into adverbs. Yeah, there are some rules for those that end in ly. Yeah, the ones that end in, I don't know, dramatically. Yeah, quickly. Yeah, those you can obtain them from adjectives. Yeah, there are others that have not that structure, like never, always, often, that you will need to learn them, but you will learn them with the use. Yeah, as you use them. Yeah, there is no point in trying to remember them by heart, the memoria, because you will forget them when you don't use them. When you learn something by using that something, that's when it sticks in your mind. Yeah. Okay, Tommy, do you have anything?
Everything is okay.
Yeah.
And in English, you use guys as a general term. So not that we know that you are girls and we're not saying
ladies. Let's call
girls.
them ladies, because
Guys
they are
is,
not girls. They are ladies.
Yes, but guys is normally, it's more an American use, I think. It's like way of saying,
We could say fox.
Well, fox,
Fox, which is a little
Fox
bit
of-
more
too much.
Texan.
Yes.
More Texan. And we were talking with Tommy. We will repeat this tomorrow, but as this is a multi-level course, and we see that, and we already knew that there were differences, and we want you to have all the resources and all the help that you can get if you want it. We are planning on offering a tutoring lesson afterwards on a time to be arranged among us for completing the questionnaire, because the questionnaire, the final questionnaire that we are going to share tomorrow, it's not a test, it's an exercise. And it's not good, for me, in my opinion, it's not good if you just know what to put but don't know why. Yeah, I don't care if you get 100 points, a score of 10 if you cannot tell why you chose those answers or what was your thinking behind your answer. I rather we work on the questionnaire and not give you the answers, but help you get to those answers than for you to just know it all. If you don't need those tutoring lessons, it's okay. If you need them, we will like to offer them to you, like extra virtual meetings for not to assist, but to guide you through the questionnaire, yeah, and to help you come up with the answer, yeah, to maybe assist you in your thinking, yeah, to maybe to point out some things to help you think of the proper answer, yeah, and maybe question if you think about an answer and it's not the answer that we are looking for, maybe okay, but why what word, what part of the sentence gives you the idea to say this? And there will be, in that case, there will be no judging because it's a process. It's a learning process. Yeah, we are not expecting for you to get all the answers right. Otherwise, we wouldn't be offering you a tutoring extra meeting. Yeah, if we and the questionnaire, it's not for you to feel bad if you don't get the answers the first time, but to think about the answers, to have a proper exercise, yeah, and to use it also as part of the learning process. That's why the score of the questionnaire, it's not going to be affecting your final grade, yeah, because it's an exercise, not a test, yeah, that's just so you can be relieved of that pressure, yeah, you don't have to, and even in the in-person week, you don't have to say everything right. As you can see, we are not correcting you, any of you, when you don't pronounce everything correctly. It's my belief that if we start doing that, and I don't do that in my other lessons with my other groups, I think that if I start correcting everything, people will lose confidence and will just stop talking. And that's not the idea. The idea is that you work on your fluency first, that you just speak, and then we can start polishing your accuracy. Yeah? Be fluent first, don't be afraid to speak, and then we can start polishing, working on how well you pronounce words. Yeah. I don't know if you have any questions, ladies. No?
No.
Okay.
No, thank you.
Okay,
Yes.
you're welcome. Okay, if there is nothing else, let's meet again tomorrow for our last proper class, and then after that I will send an email with a bunch of things. We are preparing an email with some extra resources and the pool, una encuesta, to see what time and day works better to arrange those extra tutoring sessions. Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Perfect.
Cool.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
See you
See
tomorrow,
you
guys.
tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
See you
Bye.
tomorrow.
Bye.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
stop recording.
Yes. Wait.